Ladies and gentlemen, it is rebuild time, and today we are heading to Portugal to rebuild Sporting. Now, I know what you're going to say. Steve, Sporting won the Portuguese division just a season ago, and that is true. If we dive into the game, you can see they were winners in 2020 and runners-up in 2021, 2022. But before that, there was a long spell where they weren't actually on top of the league in Portugal and the best team in Portugal. So we will take over them today, and also they have some fantastic youth talent that we will be looking to try and pull forward. I obviously do love Portugal. They have some fantastic players, so we'll be looking to see what we can do with this team. Obviously, you can see their history here. If we go into their club info and their history, you can see one-time European Cup Winners' Cup. It'd be nice to get some sort of European silverware with this team. 19-time winners of the Portuguese league, and you can see some of their other attributes, trophies. I don't know. I'm chatting out my backside now. But let's talk about the tactic and the players and stuff first and foremost. We will be using the GYR Hawkeye formation because I think they have a couple of good strikers that I would like to see use. So this is a 4-3-3, but instead of having the wide players, you got the three right up top. Obviously, we're pinning a couple players in here. Shemetti, I believe, got a massive bump in the January update. He looks fantastic as well. 18 years of age, 6'4", bit of a handful up front. We'll be pinning him into that position. We've also got Manuel Ugarte as well. Absolutely amazing central defensive midfielder this year. I think he's absolutely phenomenal. So he will be sticking in here as long as we can keep hold of him, because usually clubs like a Manchester United, a PSG, a Liverpool do come sniffing for this guy. So it'll be interesting to see if we can keep hold of him. And then we've got this guy, Ousmane Diomande. He is an absolute monster, this guy. 6'3", 18 years of age. He's big, he's fast, he's an elite tier centre back. So we're looking forward to seeing what we can do. He was added in the January update. So if you've not tried him, give him a go, because I think you will really think that this guy's an elite tier player. So you can see the players that we're keeping in. You can see the tactic that we're doing. If we go over to the competitions, guys, this is what we have. Obviously, we were runners-up of the Portuguese League last season IRL. So we are in the Champions League. We do have the Portuguese League and the two cups here, which we are expected to get to the semi-finals of one and just be competitive in the Allianz Cup as well. If we go into the board expectation for the league, they just want us to continue to qualify for the Champions League. And in the Champions League, because it's group stages to start with, they just want us to be competitive, which I think we can definitely do. If we take a look at the season preview, though, Porto were the winners last season, and Porto are the favourites to retain this year. Benfica are second. We are 9-1, predicted to finish in third. Obviously, another one that you do have to watch out for in our team, because he's in the Media Dream 11, is Pedro Goncalves. Now, he is predominantly, I would say, a central attacking midfielder. We're not using one in this tactic, so I'm going to be intrigued to see where I can actually use him, because his next best position is probably out on the left. We're not going to use him there, so I'd imagine he's going to be one of the central midfielders. So we're going to have to see how we get on. Let's simulate season number 1 and see what happens and see if we can get some silverware. So guys, season number 1 is done and dusted, and we did finish in third in the league. Porto retained the league. They went back to back, and we finished in third behind Benfica as well. We were 5 points behind Benfica, 7 behind Porto, which is disappointing for us, but I think ultimately we can really push on and see how we can get on. In the Champions League, we had, I'm going to say, a tough group. Atletico Madrid, AC Milan. We did finish joint on points with AC Milan, but we did go out on a head-to-head basis, meaning we dropped down into the Europa League, where we got to the round of 16, where we took on Arsenal. And I don't want to talk about what happened in this game because 7's quite a lot, isn't it? Anyway, less said about that, the better. Into the 5th round of the Taças de Portugal placard, but we were winners of the Allianz Cup, beating Benfica in that final 3-0. Manuel Ugarte, Matheus Reis and Francisco Trincao scoring the goals for the boys, getting the job done over Benfica. So, not the best season, I will admit, but there is definitely room for improvement. As you can see here, we were up into second in the league at some points before dropping down to third. So we really need to see what we can try and do and strengthen. I will say, if we go into the ins and the outs, we do have a couple already arranged. One of them that is arranged by the game is Francisco Trincao, joins from Barcelona for 6 million. And then obviously one of the main outs is this man, Pedro Porro, going over to Tottenham. He's on loan to start with, and then he goes over to at the end of season number 1. So let's talk finances for season number 2. We've got just shy of 12 million. We're in good shape, actually. 51 million in the bank. So we're going to see what we can do for season number 2. I was curious to see how long it would actually take for someone to come in for Manuel Ugarte. It happened straight away. He has gone to Arsenal for £52 million, which is really disappointing. The side that knocked us out of the Europa League in season number 1. He has gone over there. We've sold a couple of other players as well. Paulinho has gone. That is this guy. He has gone over to Everton, the striker. Idrissa Doumbia has gone as well. He's gone to Nuremberg in Germany. You can see some of the fees here, but the big bulk of it was, of course, Ugarte, who has now gone, as I said, over to the Gunners. Francisco Trincao, obviously the pre-arranged transfer that we did touch on at the end of season number 1, but we've signed a couple of other players as well. Casper Tobias is a goalkeeper that I've mentioned in several videos, actually. He is a very, very good goalkeeper, Portuguese youth player. 6'3", 20 years of age. He comes out of League of Warsaw, very good player. We're playing in Portugal, so we're speaking Portuguese. So we go over to Brazil and we pick ourselves up Victor Roque, another very good, promising player this year. I think he could be a really good one of the 3 strikers up top. Very athletic as well, nice and creative as well. I think he could be a good little player. Pablo Torre comes in from Barcelona for £15 million. We lose a couple midfielders. We need to replace them. He is one of the ones that comes in to do that job. And Arda Güler, creative force, can play in central midfield, can unlock defenses. He's young, and this is actually a better version of him than I've seen recently, because he actually has a little bit more about him physically. Yes, I know it's only 6 strength, but that is more than you get in certain instances. So the team's looking pretty stacked. I'm really happy with how some of the players have come in and how they're looking. These are the players that we will be pinning into their positions. Tobias is going to be our starting goalkeeper. Diomande is still there, the absolute monster. Arda alongside Toure, Victor Roque and Shermetti as the 2 strikers. Obviously, we do have several other players that are decent enough to get into this team. Ignacio is one that I do like in this game as well. Obviously, Pedro Goncalves is still here, and Trincao, another one. If we go into the competition stat though, guys, this is how we're looking. Obviously, we still go back into the Champions League, but we did finish in 3rd in the league, so that means we do have to qualify. As you can see here, we're about to play Dnipro out of the Ukraine. To see if we can get ourselves qualified into the Champions League. We still have the Allianz Cup that we will be looking to retain, and the Taças de Portugal placard. In terms of the league, the board wants us to continue to qualify for the Champions League, which means finishing inside that top 3. And the pre-season odds, we are 15-2 to get the job done, but the odds on Porto have shortened just a little bit, and Benfica, so it feels like we've kind of closed the gap on them a little bit with some of the players that we have managed to bring in. So we've got some good players here, and I'm looking forward to seeing what we can actually do this season. Let's see if we can improve on that 3rd place finish. I asked for some improvement in season number 2, and we definitely delivered on that. We have finished top of the league, beating Porto to the title by just a singular point. Very happy with this. Obviously, they were 1 point behind us. They were, and then Benfica were 1 point behind them. So really, really tight at the top of the division. And Vitor Roque going off, basically. 29 goals in 44 starts for him. He is now wanted by Arsenal, Fulham, Manchester United, and Hertha Berlin. But hopefully, we can keep hold of him. We were knocked out again in the Champions League group stage, rather disappointingly. Barcelona and Dortmund in our group, so you kind of would expect them to go through. But Slovan Bratislava did a number on us as well, and we actually finished bottom of that group, which is rather disappointing. We did pick up some more silverware though. The Taças de Portugal placard. We managed to beat Rio Ave in the final, 3-1. Vitor Roque, Ousmane Diomande, and Marcus Edwards, the former Tottenham man, scoring a penalty. This is relatively comprehensive, as you can see. The attributes, the match stats are very one-sided. So again, another bit of silverware, but a league and cup double, guys. I'm really happy with this one. Huge improvements from the season prior, which I'm really happy about, despite losing one of our best players in Ugarte. If we go over to the finances for season number 3, this is an absolute war chest, guys. 40.5 million. We are absolutely flying. The debts and loans, that's quite high, but we'll talk about that at another point. This team is doing absolutely fantastic. Shamati is coming on nicely as well. Still looks pretty well-rounded. Hasn't really developed as much as I would have liked thus far. He's wanted by Aston Villa, Forest and Marseille as well. And Arda Güler from midfield, 17 assists from the young Turkish magician. And this guy is an absolute magician. Just look, 19 techniques, 17 passing, 16 for free kicks. The guy can do it all, boys. Go and get him. Go and get him. That's all I'm going to say. Right, let's go spend 40 million for season number 3 with Sporting Lisbon. So, season 3 transfer update here, and we have been busy. We have been out and we have spent some cash. Looking at the transfers on the screen, you can see here we've spent 88 million. Only recruit 32.5 million. Nuno Santos is the biggest outgoing. He is the winger who can basically play all up and down that left-hand side. He has gone to Southampton. Again, Premier League money talks, guys. £30 million for him off to Southampton. But we've really improved with these 2 signings. We've only brought in 2 players, but they are 2 exceptional players. One of my favourite players in the game this year and in the last couple of years, actually. Ilaix Moriba, the former La Masia graduate coming out of Barcelona. He is now playing in Germany. Obviously for RB... Well, is he playing in Germany? He plays for RB Leipzig, but he's been on loan at Valencia. Anyway, he's our player now, and I think he's going to be an elite tier talent for us. £38 million for him. And Levi Colwill, we've actually picked up Levi Colwill from Chelsea. We've spent a lot of money on this guy though, guys, but Chelsea are a very weird one in some of these simulations. Sometimes they buy lots of players, sometimes they don't. Sometimes he is an electric starter for them. In this instance, not so much. So we've picked him up. Attribute wise, it still looks exceptional. So got a massive bump in the January update. He is now, we paid £50 million for his services, and I think him alongside Diamande will be very good. We're not actually going to pin any particular players in here for season number 3, but if we quick pick without restriction our best 11, this is how the team is looking now. Tobias in goal, St. Just alongside Coates, Colwell, Inacio, Morita, Moriba, Torre, Vitor Roque, Goncalves and Trincao. Obviously then we do have on the bench Arda Güler. We've obviously still got Thiago Thomas, Diamande, Shametti. We've got an absolute plethora of talent going into season number 3, and this is how we're looking in season number 3. Obviously we do have the Super Cup as well. Still got the Champions League as the champion, so we go straight into the league phase for season number 3. And obviously we do have the Portuguese League as well. The board expectation to continue just to qualify for the Champions League. Just keep making sure you make that money, girl. But we've got some more players in this Media Dream 11 now. Colwell is alongside Coates. Morita is there. Torre is there. Trincao is there. As I said, we're definitely really starting to impose ourselves on this division a bit. And we've closed the gap on Porto and Benfica at the top of the league in terms of those pre-season predictions. I'd like to retain the Portuguese title. Let's get forward through this season and see if we can do just that. Season 3 is done and we have gone back to back with the league. This time a much more impressive margin of points. We actually won the league by 8 points over Porto this time around, which is fantastic. We are on top of the league, and Francisco Trincao was our top goal scorer in the league. 28 goals and 9 assists for him, playing as a striker. He's definitely got all the attributes for it. His vision's fantastic. 15 off the ball is great. Good on the ball. Good first touch. Decent enough finishing at 14, but high composure. Another La Masia graduate. You love to see it. Obviously, well, actually, no, he's not a La Masia graduate. He just went to Barcelona. Hands up, I have got that wrong. He is. Then we had the Champions League where we got all the way to the semi-final, guys, where we ultimately then get dispatched by AC Milan. Now, this is very disappointing. Tony Martinez, the former Porto man, getting the goals there, which is disappointing. Sandro Tonali as well in this second leg. But is this an FMing? 3 goals from under 1 XG? I don't know. But we got to the semi-finals, which is definitely further than everybody would seem to expect. In the quarterfinals, you can see here we knocked out Napoli 2-1. And in that round of 16, we knocked out Barcelona, which is a hell of a result here. Obviously 3-2 on aggregate. Ronald Araujo with a goal for Barca. Shametti with the goal for us, making sure that we go through 3-2 on aggregate. So, in terms of some of the other competitions, so guys, we've added some more silverware to our trophy cabinet. We got to the final again of the Taças de Portugal placard, winning it back-to-back, beating Porto in that final 2-1. Vitor Roque and Francisco Trincao with the goals there, proving that we are too good for Porto in this particular instance. Runners-up in the Allianz Cup, and we also won the Super Cup as well, beating Rio Ave 2-0. Trincao with a cheeky little double in that one, getting the job done in what was a relatively comprehensive victory. Talking about the league, though, if we expand the league a second, you can kind of see there 3 losses all season: Rio Ave, Benfica and Firenze, which is impressive nonetheless, plus 58 in terms of that goal difference, despite not having one of the top goal scorers in the league, which is really, really nice to see. But we go back-to-back. We still maintain that 6th place finish. Obviously, the semi-final in the Champions League will definitely do that. I think that's probably going to be as good as it's going to get in terms of European football, to be honest. I'd like to clean sweep Portugal. We've not done that just yet. And to try and get the job done there, we've got 20 million. Obviously, we did spend quite big last summer. So hopefully, we can try and improve in the right element for season number 4. Season 4, we are ready to dominate Portugal even more than we did last season. We've actually not recouped any money at all, but we've only spent £16.75 million, but we've done it in the right areas, if you ask me. First and foremost, an unbelievable free transfer, Desiree Dewey. I've definitely said this guy's name wrong. He got a massive bump in the winter update as well. He is a fantastic player, comes in from Rennes. He wanted to leave the club. We wanted to have him at the club. High dribbling, first touch, passing, as you can see, nice high flair as well. Young Frenchman. The French clubs know how to produce young talent. We got Big Mama in, Georgi Mamadashvili. He comes in from Valencia as well to play in goal for us. He is an absolute beast, the Georgian. He is 6'6", fantastic in the air, great command of his area, fantastic communication as well, high reflexes, very good goalkeeper. Comes in from Valencia for just £4 million. Anders Borset is how I'm going to say this guy's name. He comes in from Mulder. Look at how good this guy is for fullback. Supremely well-rounded, high attributes where he needs them technically as well, or high enough. Good crossing, dribbling, first touches, that for actually going forward. He is 19 years of age, ladies and gents, and he comes in from Mulder. If I click on him, looks like he's real. He's definitely not a new gen player, so that is fantastic as well. And Douglas Mendes comes in from Portugal, from Brazil. Obviously, that Portuguese link as well is fantastic as well. 17 jumping reach and 6'3" at centre back. Yes, please. We like those. Good set pieces. If we go into the tactic again, we're going to pin a couple players in. Borset's going to play. Diamande is going to get pinned in at centre-back. A little bit disappointed with him, actually. He's kind of dropped off a little bit from where he actually starts the save, which is a bit disappointing. But in terms of his attribute analysis in the top right, he still looks very, very good. Shametti as well. He is 21 years of age. This is a kind of make or break season for him to see if he can kind of step into being that next level of player. I hope he can do. In terms of the competitions, though, we got the same sort of set of competitions again, the same 5, exact same 5. The board wants us to be pretty competitive in all of it, to be honest, and hopefully we can go back to that Champions League semi-final and maybe go one step further this time around. In terms of the Portuguese league, though, I'd love a 3-peat. The board wants us to just continue qualifying for the Champions League. We are now the joint favourites alongside Porto at 15-8. So the board is obviously kind of underestimating our abilities here. Look at the actual spine of the Media Dream 11. It is all our players. So we need to go and get the job done. We need that 3-peat. So we have managed to secure 3 Portuguese league titles in a row. But I'd actually say the season is much more disappointing than the year prior. So we did win the league again on 83 points. This final day of the season is absolutely ludicrous. Porto lose that final, but they actually draw. Benfica lose to Porto in the trophy final, but Benfica, who we were fighting tooth and nail with the whole season to get that title done, they actually draw 0-0 in their last game of the season. They have absolutely annihilated this team as well, but they draw, meaning they finish on 83 points and we finish on 83 points because we won our final game of the season against Braga 4-0. and we win the title, which is very disappointing to a point that we had to go through that route to win the title, because if we expand the stages here, you can see in the current season, we got 83 points last season, we get 83 points this season, and 76 to the season before. So we are definitely getting better, but this is much more close than I would like to see. In terms of the Champions League, no return to the Champions League semi-final this time, knocked out in the playoff round by Marseille, 5-3, winning the one at home, but losing the game over in France, which is really disappointing. We should be beating teams like Marseille with the team that we have assembled. Knocked out in the 5th round of the Placard by Porto, knocked out in the semi-final of the Allianz Cup, again by Porto, but we did win the Super Cup. We won the worst one, basically, beating Porto in that one, 4-2. The season looks so good at this point. Comprehensive win over Porto, and we looked like we were flying at the start of the season, but disappointing in the cup competitions, I will say. Going into the 5th and final season, we've got another 20 mil to go to see what we can do with this team. I'm actually really happy with this team, and I really think they underperformed a little bit in season number 4. Let's see what we can do for season number 5. So, season number 5 is here. And how many transfers have we made? 0. We haven't signed an actual person because, as I said, I felt like this team was good enough and really underperformed last season. So we didn't sign anybody, nobody in, one player out, but on a free transfer. So it's not even like we made a huge amount of money. So let's go into the team. If we quick pick without restriction, our best 11, this is how we are looking. Green lines, left, right, and centre. Tobias in goal, St-Juste, Diomande, Colwell, Inacio actually as a wing back, because you kind of want to sandwich him in here. He's a little bit unhappy. He'll figure it out. Morita as the defensive midfielder. Desiree Dewey alongside Elax Moriba. Very athletic midfield, these two, as the box-to-boxes. So looking forward to them getting really up and in to the opposition's grills. Trincao and Vitor Roque are the pressing forwards, and Goncalves is my main striker. Goncalves looks still very, very good as this striker, even as an advanced forward. 17 finishing, 15 composure. Great off the ball. Yeah. Big fan of this guy. As you can see, the entire team basically is wanted. So obviously that is kind of what happens with Portuguese players or players in Portugal. It kind of like you're kind of a shopping cart for everyone in England at the very least. Obviously we do have the same 5 competitions this time. I want to win every single trophy that I can in Portugal in season number 5, and that is going to be my main goal. Again, I want to be competitive in the league. The board expectation now, 5 seasons in, is to win the league. They want 4 in a row, and I will be hoping to do that. If we take a look at the pre-season odds, we are now the favourites with just a couple different players from different clubs. Benfica have got their goalkeeper in here. They've also got David Neres, and a Pepe is coming in. He's on winger, but for some reason the Media Dream 11's putting him at right back. He is a Porto player, of course. We are now the favourites to win the division, and I'm hoping we can do that. I would like 4 in a row, reasserting Sporting as the pinnacle of Portuguese league football. Guys, it didn't happen in season number 5. We lost the title to Benfica. Benfica won on 84 points, which is actually the highest points total of any team that we've seen in this rebuild of Sporting. We did finish second despite the 93, yes, 9-3 goal difference, plus 93 goal difference. It wasn't to be in season number 5. We knocked out in the 4th round of the Portugal Placard by Porto. We were runners-up in the Allianz Cup, losing that final 2-1 to Benfica, which is rather disappointing. I want to click on this game and expand it for you, but there we go. David Neres with the goals, and Maximilio Salas, Goncalves with the goal for us. Didn't really deserve it looking at the stats in this particular game. We did win the Super Cup again, so 3-0 in against Porto in that one. Colwell, Shametti, and Borset, the left back, getting the goals there. So ultimately a rather disappointing season if you discount everything but the Champions League, where we got back to the semi-finals again. Unfortunately lost 3-1 on aggregate to Liverpool. Mo Salah scored a penalty, missed another one, and then scored a second to really put the knife in to win the game 3-1. In the quarterfinals, we did get ourselves through. We beat Barcelona again, which is nice to see. Liverpool just about squeaking through on penalties against PSG. In that round of 16, we knocked out Atletico Madrid 6-4, so we had a bit of a tough run about it, but ultimately got knocked out at the semi-final stage. I would have loved to have picked a European trophy, but that's the issue in this. When you're fighting out at the top of the Portuguese league to try and win the title, it means you go straight into the Champions League, and obviously after season number 3, you don't drop down from the Champions League into the Europa League anymore. So rather disappointing on that front, because I think if any of these seasons we were in the Europa League, bar that first one, it would have been our trophy. If you wanted to take over the save, you can do. If you were to go into the next season, you would have just under 31 million pounds to do so. And you can get your hands on these saves in my Discord, which is linked down below. If you do like the rebuild content though, guys, let me know who you would like to see me rebuild in future videos down in that comment section. And check out this playlist if you do like the rebuild, because that is every rebuild that we've done on this year's game so far.